Hey friends, how you doing? Good evening. I just wanted to share some stories with us. But before I do so, as usual, how has your day been? What's been going on? How's your weekend been? Did you go out? Have you been enjoying your life? What exactly have you been up to? So I will share some couple of stories with us, and I would also let us know what exactly tonight's conversation will be about. So if you're joining from anywhere in the world, welcome. Yes, so I would be more than glad to know where you're joining from. I'm not putting on my reading glasses, but I have to then move. Okay, so I can see. Yeah, so welcome everybody. Welcome. Thank you for sharing your night with me. As usual, it's usually very brief and concise. So, how has your weekend been? I hope you've been enjoying your life. If you already ordered a copy of Soul Stripper, how has it been for you? If you have a copy of Soul Stripper, have you been reading it? What's the experience for you? It's pretty simple. It's a mental health planner, nothing bogus or whatever. I didn't want it to be too bogus. I just wanted something a 5-year-old could understand. That's really what it is. So to my story. So I went to swim today at a not so public pool, and I saw an instructor teaching a 2-year-old. And one thing that I noticed in what the instructor was doing was that the 2-year-old loves water, but the 2-year-old was scared of swimming. So now I saw a 2-year-old who took pleasure in getting into water, but then anything above her neck she wasn't interested in. She could splash water, she could jump, but she expects you to catch her. So you could see that even though she liked water, she wasn't really interested in the swimming part. So every time the instructor tried to dip her head underwater or give her instructions to do anything, she was going to freak out and cry. So as the whatever psychologist or whatever that I am, I then moved forward and said to the instructor, what's going on? Of course, I know the instructor, so it's a pool that I'm used to. And then the instructor says, oh, she's scared of water. And I'm like, oh, okay. What's the story? Like, how did you get to that point to say assertively that she's scared of water? So he said, the girl's mom had told him that she used to like water until something happened to her. So I said, okay, so what happened? He said the mother said the first time she was learning how to swim that she was in the water, so the mom was in the pool, and then the mom had said to her that jump, I will catch you. And she had jumped. But interestingly, the mother did not catch her. The mother allowed her to get into water, and she freaked out. She was crying. While she was crying, the mother was laughing. Those kind of games that we play, that we tell people to do stuff and then they do it, and then what they're freaking out to say, oh, it was just a joke, it was just funny, all of those things. So the mother had instructed her to jump, I would catch you. And the 2-year-old jumped with reckless abandon, expecting to fall into the mother's arms, but ironically she fell into water. So that was the beginning of her love-hate relationship with water, and almost a traumatic relationship with water, because every time she sees water now, and every time you tell her to jump, you will see the suspicion in her eyes, you will see the lack of trust, you will see the disbelief, you will see a 2-year-old who is beginning to have trust issues, a 2-year-old who is beginning to say to herself, these adults can give an instruction and not follow the instruction. You will see a 2-year-old that is already conflicted. Who can I trust? Should I trust this person? If my mother could leave me in the water to whatever, then who else? If my mother can do that to me. So this 2-year-old has been having different instructors to learn how to swim, but she's not learning how to swim because she's not trusting anybody. She's not giving herself up. She's not being vulnerable. She's not herself. What has happened at that point is that a 2-year-old has suddenly been primed to begin to think like an adult. Now, when I say begin to think like an adult, that's quite disempowering, because children are expected to be children. So if a 2-year-old is beginning to be suspicious, a 2-year-old is learning that adults lie, a 2-year-old is suspecting instructions, then something is not right. And that's really how trauma starts. where an adult who is supposed to be a caretaker or a custodian is supposed to take care of a child, and then the adult who is supposed to take care of a child, who is supposed to protect and preserve the child, is the same adult that is consuming the child. So you see the reason why we are usually very livid when we hear child sexual molestation, rape, and all of those things, because you do not just destroy or inflict pain on the body, you inflict pain on the soul, and the most painful pain is the psychological pain. If a 2-year-old is having that experience already, let me share another story with you. Also in the pool, I met a 23-year-old who practically shakes every time she gets into water. When I say shake, I mean, when you're very ill and you're going to the hospital and you are really shaking, like I remember a particular advert that says shaky shaky daddy, yeah, that kind of thing. The lady practically shakes. So I'd seen her a couple of times. I'd seen her instructor try to talk to her, but I just saw that something was not going on well. And what had happened to this particular person also, she said when she was in secondary school, they had taken them to an ocean. I think it was out of the country or something, because she sounded like she had an accent, so I just suspected she must have schooled abroad. So they had taken them out of the country, and while in the ocean, they had given them the life jacket and every other thing, and they had told them to do something, so like form a circle, all of the students form a circle and all of that. And one of her supervisors had given her an instruction, so they had formed the circle and there was a rope around them, and the instructor had said to her, take your hands off the rope and help me get something, that don't worry, I would hold your life jacket. So I think the impression she gave me was, I would hold on to you while you help me stretch your hands and get that particular thing for me. So this young lady, who is now 23, at the time she was in high school, secondary school, definitely less than 16, so she said she had taken her hands off the rope and she was about to stretch, to get the stuff for the instructor. I can't remember what she said it was, and as she stretched to get it from the instructor, she just saw that she was floating away, and she did not really know how to swim. So she started freaking out, and then they had to save her, and then the instructor said to her, I'm sorry, I forgot. I don't know what had happened, but somewhere along the line, there was also a break in trust, and she said from that day, every time she sees water, she freaks out. Like, it looks like she's reliving that particular experience all over again. It looks like whatever happened to her in the ocean is about to happen, and she said it wasn't her first or second time attempting to learn how to swim, but definitely she never gets past that stage. I mean, she cannot even take an instruction to float. If you see how she shakes, you will practically think that she's about to have a seizure. So I said all of that to say that almost all of us, we've had encounters with pain. We have had encounters as children, and then you see us performing as adults now. But part of the irony is the fact that we may not have healed the child in us. And once you haven't healed the child in you, the adult in you will not fly. The adult in you will not manifest to full capacity. The adult in you will not experience the highest level of itself, himself, or herself. It is very crucial that we heal the child in us. I know a couple of emotional healers or practitioners like myself, or people in the mental health industry, or psychologists, all of us, and I'm very aware that every experience, every pain you experience as an adult can be traced to your childhood. Like, you can practically see the footprint. If you experience timeline therapy, you can see that almost all of us, I've met a couple of people who have trust issues. They're good people, but they definitely have trust issues, and it is because somebody somewhere, a couple of people that were supposed to be there for them, one way or the other, were not there for them. And not because they also are wicked or mean or evil. See the case of the 2-year-old. So the mother just felt, jump. And then the mother was catching vibes, catching her trips, but she didn't know that she was also teaching that young girl, installing and programming in her mind that probably adults are not to be trusted. And then the girl feels, if I cannot trust my mom, who can I trust? All of those issues put together. So it is crucial that all of us get to that point where we are interested in soul stripping. We're interested in healing the child in us so that the adult in us can express itself to full capacity. We can be real, raw, and vulnerable. We can get to that point where we are experiencing our authenticity and enjoying our lives, really. We are getting to that point where we can say that we are close to restoration, that we have embarked on the journey of repair to the point where we're close to restoration. Because if you do not pay attention to the child in you, no matter where you go in your career, in marriage, in life, in your finances, the child in you will always show up. The child in you will always show up. We got the case of the ex-president who at about 75 or 76 could not deal with loss. That's a childhood problem right there. That's somebody who does not understand denial. That's somebody who has not been taught to fail honorably. That's somebody who used tantrum as a tool of oppression. That's somebody who used intimidation to get his way, who understood how bullying was going to get him results. That's somebody who, as a child, was really not raised the way he was supposed to be raised. So bullying, oppression, threatening, intimidation, all those things were tools that helped him get results. But they couldn't deliver results to him at the presidency level, because at that point you should have expired those tools to work with healthier tools, work with more empowering tools, and work with the tools that adults are supposed to work with. So all of this conversation is tied to the fact that we all need a soul stripping experience. We all need that point and encounters where we're indeed checking out if the child in us has been healed and to what capacity the child in us has been healed. We move is not a strategy. All things are passed away. I hear people also say, forgive the abuser and all of that. Are you aware that the abuser has been forgiven already? This gentleman, whatever his name is, has been forgiven. But you can forgive and not restore. And it's not because you are a bad person. It is because life has consequences. Actions have consequences. So if you malfunction, if you took pleasure in abusing younger people, be assured we have forgiven you. But you would land in jail. You would enjoy yourself in jail. You will have your VIP section in jail. It has nothing to do with forgiveness. It just means that every action has something called consequential thinking, the ability to check out the cost and benefit of an action. So if you thought that fingering a 7-year-old was supposed to give you good vibes and all of that, 7 years after, you are going to reap the reward of that labor, because that is one child that you have intentionally erased. And through therapy, the highest a therapist, psychologist, or anybody can achieve is to repair. So is there a forgiveness problem in what we're talking about? Not at all. But you must test the consequences of your actions so that you would understand that life is deeper than you just having an erection and going with it. So soul stripping is very crucial for all of us. If you have bought Soul Stripper, please give me feedback. Let me know what's up. What's your best chapter? What have you learned? How's it going for you? I'm also starting a tour, Soul Stripping Tour. What's that? Soul Stripping Tour, SST. Good. Yeah, so my tour is about me going to worship centers, organizations, going to worship centers, organizations, anywhere that they're human beings, really. Yeah. And then for the tour, the most important thing is that I want to have conversations with people, especially conversations with their soul. Because you do not have a soul, you are a soul. So you are not a body with a soul, you are a soul that lives and has a body. So it is really that soul that I want to have a conversation with. I just want to check out your soul. I want to check out how healthy you are. And I'm not saying how perfect, but how healthy you are, the journey that your soul has been to, the fact that if you have reduced your present to a means of getting to the future, or if you really are wholesome and enjoying your life, I mean your wheel of emotions, financially, emotionally, psychologically, health-wise, everything, how exactly are you functioning? What exactly are you doing? How is this working for you? So I'm interested in having a soul stripping tour. You will see my poster tomorrow where I'm talking about the soul stripping tour, available to speak at organizations, worship centers, anywhere that human beings are interested in increasing their personal and professional influence. You are interested in increasing your performance, productivity, and of course profitability, because if it makes money, it's making a lot of sense. And then impact is very key. Actually, I love a life of impact. Impact is what I live for. This is what I do every day. I help people discover their lives. I help people move from unhappiness to happiness, meaninglessness to meaning, and dissatisfaction to satisfaction. If you're above 40, I really should be your executive coach, not because of anything or the hype. No, basically because you need somebody in your corner. You need somebody who can let you know that, you know what, at every point in time, daily, you can experience a higher level of yourself. You need somebody you can trust. You need somebody who, whatever you tell, stays with the person till death. You know, you need somebody who is interested in the numbers that you crunch. You need somebody who is interested in your peace and your joy, because life is deeper than money. We're not here to work, pay bills, and die. Not at all. We're here to work. We're here to enjoy our lives. We're here to experience the highest level of ourselves. So if you're above 40, what are you waiting for? My DM is there. If you're lower than 40, I'm available for you also. But organizations, worship centers, everywhere, you're going to see my flyer very soon. Soul Stripping Tour. I just want to meet you. If you're my fan anywhere, I'm pretty shy. So if you ask me for a selfie, maybe half of the time I would honor. If I don't honor you, forgive me in advance, you know, not because of anything major, but I'm just not used to, you know, all of those hype and whatever. But I don't want to say I'm trying, because it's not true. But just forgive me. Just whatever you want, I will try, but whatever it is, yeah. Meet and greet, I'm also available. So some special people came to pick up tens of copies of my book, and it was a good opportunity to meet with them. No therapy or coaching, no, just 5 minutes conversation, and that was it. So if you're buying more than 50 copies, I'm a DM away. You should get it at a discounted price, and of course you can pick up at my office at Ikoyi, Lagos, and then we can have a selfie together. So I just thought I should stop by. Soul Stripping Tour is extremely crucial, and while at it, remember to soul strip yourself. If you don't know how, my Soul Stripping book is available. If you have a copy, please share your beautiful moments with me. I'll see you again, most likely next week. Do have a wealthy weekend, and of course, beautiful Sunday.